what I've been doing lately as a composer is taking people's names, especially sometimes iconic phrases from poetry or scripture, and translating them into numbers using traditional Pythagorean numerology, and then translating those numbers into various chromatic scales, and then seeing what the pitch material suggests to me. So this piece, if you know George, and you know his Apuleian spirit, and his great musicianship, you might think, wow, this doesn't sound like George. Because as I was writing it, it definitely didn't come across as the George that I knew in person. And yet, it wasn't so much I was trying to depict him. It's not a portrait of him. It is using the letters of his name and what came out of that. Let's see, George. This is what George sounds like. I'm just going to give you some of the material before I play the piece. I hope that's okay. So this is what George sounds like using my current compositional system. And what could be down here? To me, inside there's a little Chopin-esque turn. So immediately I had a little suggestion there. And ornamentation, maybe, in general. And then Shangrow sounds like this. Or lower. And inside there is a strong fifth. And then it moves into more of a whole tone kind of feel to it. If I take George, and I take those numbers and I reduce them down, I get this figure, which is a diminished triad. And if I take Shangrow and reduce that down to its number, like this. So in fact, I realized I was getting a lot of whole tone, actually. The little ornamentation figure, the open fifth, but a lot of things like diminished triads, diminished fifths, both this whole tone scale as well as its counterpart. I was getting portions of those things. And when I started to put the things together, things like this started to sound more and more impressionistic. So those are all the things that were bubbling around in my head as I went, as I was writing the piece. And also I discovered George reduces to a 3, Shangrow reduces to a 6, and his full name reduced to a 9. And you might be aware 3, 6, 9 has strong religious and spiritual and mystic connotations of the Trinity. So I was using that. And then my greatest discovery is that his name is a palindrome. It's a perfect palindrome except for the first G. So if he had been Eeyore Shangrow, it would have been a perfect palindrome. So I started playing around with circles and spirals and that sort of thing.